What is crack-a-lackin' crypto fiends? Ryan Rotolo here at the brand new Crypto Fiend Studio. What do you guys think? This is what I have been working on the past 2 weeks, so I apologize for not uploading so much, but wow, I am just blown away how this studio came out, and I just want to thank everyone for making this a possibility. If it wasn't for you guys watching, I would not be sitting here today. So I seriously, from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys so much for enjoying the content and of course being subscribed to the channel. So I will give you guys a full 360 view in a future video. I'll give you guys like a studio tour. But today, this is the new set. Let me know what you guys think. I do think I want to get some sort of plant where we can watch it grow over time as the channel grows. I really wanted to do a bonsai tree, but I know Crypto Daily has a bonsai tree and I don't want to be a copycat, so we might do something a little different. Maybe like a cactus. I think that would be really cool, a little cactus. But nonetheless, this is what we have for you guys today. Now, today, I do want to dive into why I am personally so bullish on Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies as a whole, but we are going to be focusing more on Bitcoin right now today, but talking about both just a little bit. I have compiled as much information as I could find on all of the exciting stuff that is happening in Bitcoin right now and all the stuff that is going to be happening throughout the next couple months for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Now, this list is very exciting and it gets my juices flowing, and it is so bullish. Now, I personally haven't really seen too many videos on the YouTube or anywhere in the space that is compiling all of this bullish news that we've had over the past couple months or so and putting it into one video and preaching it to you guys. So that's what I sort of want to do today. I want to preach to you and sort of rant on, I should say, of why I'm so bullish on Bitcoin and why you should be too. You should be stacking those Satoshis while you still can. Of course, none of this is financial advice, but if you take it that way, so be it. I hope I don't get a lawsuit. Nonetheless, let's jump right into things. First off, I want to start off a very simple and slight and talk about Microsoft and Apple. We don't hear the word Apple in the cryptocurrency space too much, but Microsoft is definitely making strides to adopt blockchain technology, and they've gone so far to integrate the Bitcoin logo into Excel. Excel now has Bitcoin involved into it, and I know this isn't the biggest of news, but keep in mind, it takes a lot for Microsoft to do something like that and integrate a new form of currency. They are accepting Bitcoin. They see Bitcoin as an asset, as a currency, and they see it being here for multiple years to come, especially if they went so far to integrate it into their new Excel platform. Next, we have Apple. Apple has integrated the Bitcoin logo into their keyboard, so you can spam all your friends and family with the Bitcoin logo whenever Bitcoin rises in value, and you can help spread adoption that way. Now, I know those are two real small examples, but nonetheless, that helps drastically with the adoption of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies across the board. This is seriously a huge deal, and I can't emphasize it enough. Facebook is going to help drastically drive adoption to cryptocurrencies. So we all know, or the majority of us know, that Facebook is launching their own cryptocurrency called Libra. It will be a stable coin back to the US dollar. Now, what's the point of that? Well, Facebook and a lot of these other platforms like Amazon, Best Buy, etc. I don't know if you guys noticed, they're all starting to, well, Amazon specifically, they're integrating their own forms of payment and sort of trying to get away from all these other payment carriers like Visa, MasterCard, etc. They have their own credit cards, stuff like that. You also have platforms like Kik. Kik integrated their own cryptocurrency so you can transact value on the Kik messaging platform. And we also have Telegram. Telegram is integrating their own cryptocurrency. So this is sort of a trend that is going around the space right now, and I personally believe is going to really continue. A lot of these social media platforms have huge followings. They have billions and billions of users. It absolutely makes sense for them to integrate their own payment system where they can keep all the users on the platform and use their payment system to branch outwards into all of these other networks like Amazon, etc. So where am I getting at with this? Facebook is launching their own cryptocurrency called Libra, backed one-to-one. As of right now, you will be able to use this across Facebook and WhatsApp. They have not discussed anything with Instagram yet, but I would not be surprised if they did some sort of tipping platform or something like that with Instagram in the future. Now, why it's such a big deal that we have Facebook and WhatsApp involved in cryptocurrencies is the user base that Facebook has. Facebook currently has around 2.3 billion monthly active users as of Q1 of 2019. So WhatsApp currently has around 400 million monthly active users, and of course, I just see this continuing in the future, especially when they integrate a payment method on their platform. Just imagine I can text my friend on WhatsApp and I can send them money all the way into Indonesia without having to go through a bank or a wire transfer, anything like that. Now, I understand that's what Bitcoin is for, and that's what a lot of these other cryptocurrencies are for, and I 100% support that, but they don't have the user base and the customers that WhatsApp and Facebook currently have. So nonetheless, this is going to help massively drive adoption in cryptocurrencies, especially down the road when Facebook maybe does list Libra onto Binance or Coinbase, and Binance is actually in the talks with that right now, but that's for another story. This will really help drive a massive on-ramp from Facebook into the rest of cryptocurrencies and just help with exposure. I want to briefly go over the long list of investors that are invested in Facebook's cryptocurrency dubbed Libra. Now, I'm not going to be going over all of them, but the main ones include Visa, MasterCard, Lyft, eBay, Spotify, Calibra, PayPal, Coinbase, Uber, Union Square Ventures, and a handful more. Now, keep in mind, all of these companies aren't just investing into Libra because they see a big future in it and they want a high return. These are all shopping platforms or sort of payment platforms that are most likely going to integrate Libra into their platform. So you could be using Libra on Lyft. You could be using Libra on eBay, and this is all going to connect back to Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies as a whole. This is going to branch out into billions and billions of people within the next year or two. Now, Facebook does plan to launch Libra in 2020. They wanted to do it a lot earlier, but they're having some issues with legal troubles, but I'm sure they will get around it, especially with these big corporations involved in it. And this is the main factor that I personally believe is going to drive massive adoption into the cryptocurrency space. Next up, I want to go over a handful of institutions that are going to be building on-ramps or have built on-ramps and are going to be launching soon. We have TD Ameritrade. They are said to be launching a crypto trading on-ramp in 2019 of this year. Keep in mind, we are in Q3 right now, so not too far to go till the end of the year. And they currently manage around $3 trillion in assets throughout all of their customers. $3 trillion. Keep in mind, I think the cryptocurrency market cap's a little over 300 billion right now. So that is absolutely massive right there alone. Next up, we have Fidelity. We all know Fidelity was getting involved in the cryptocurrency space, but they are going to be having their own on-ramp as well, and they currently manage, drumroll please, $6 trillion in assets throughout all of their customers. That is absolutely ludicrous, and I wouldn't be surprised if a couple percentages of that transitioned over into Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies down the road. Next up, we do have ICE-backed, a cryptocurrency futures platform that has been in the works for like a little over a year now, well, probably a couple years, but it was announced to be launched in November. It got delayed again, and we are still waiting on the launch for that. I personally believe the catalyst is going to be all of these institutions launching around the same time, and that is going to launch crypto to who knows where. Backed, why it's such a big deal, their current investors is Microsoft Ventures, Pantera Capital, Intercontinental Exchange, or AKA Starbucks. Starbucks, of course, is involved into the cryptocurrency space. So Bakkt is a big one we are waiting for, but I seriously think these are all going to launch around the similar times, and that's what's going to really help drive adoption. We also do have NASDAQ set to list Bitcoin futures in 2019 as well. So as of right now, we have TD Ameritrade, ICE, Fidelity, and NASDAQ all supposed to launch in 2019. The clock is ticking, guys. We only have a little over a quarter left, and they haven't launched yet. So I'm just saying, guys, 2019 is not over, and the price movement of Bitcoin is not over as well. Samsung and how they have integrated cryptocurrency wallets into their new phones, the S10 and I believe the new Note. This is a big step forward for adoption. Samsung is a huge player in the mobile space, and of course, the best part about Samsung is as they continue to produce new phones at cheaper prices, they most likely will be integrated with cryptocurrency wallets as well. So second and third world countries down the road can get involved in cryptocurrencies and have a hardware wallet built onto their phone. And of course, we know Samsung did partner with a handful of cryptocurrency companies, including Engine Coin, Cosmos, etc. And that, of course, is a serious big deal. Serious big deal. Does that make sense? I don't know. Let's keep rolling on. Also with Samsung, something I don't hear a lot of people talking about, it kind of came into the news and got flushed right back out, is Samsung has been testing on top of the Ethereum blockchain for quite a while now. So this can indicate that they may be launching their own Samsung coin or something in that matter. Now, this is not confirmed. This is sort of a rumor, but I would not be surprised if they did something like this, especially how a Samsung coin could definitely be utilized greatly on their overall ecosystem of Samsung devices. I feel like this definitely gets blown over people's head, especially how the majority of people investing in Bitcoin are investing to hold on to it for future years to come, and I completely get it. I do that as well, but this just goes to show that Bitcoin is really getting out there to the masses, and it is going to continue for future years to come. If these stores are adopting Bitcoin, you most likely should and get ahead of the curve so you can seek the rewards in the future. So current stores, the majority of retailers that are well known, we have Whole Foods, Shopify, Dish TV, Overstock, Microsoft, Nordstrom, Crate and Barrel, Bed Bath & Beyond, Express, GameStop, Jamba Juice, Lowe's, Office Depot, Petco, Regal, Ulta Beauty, Steam, Wikipedia, Intuit TurboTax, Subway, Etsy, Square, ExpressVPN, Expedia, and Harvard University. And that is just a handful to name the least. Millennials are really starting to invest. They're starting to invest in a handful of different things. But if you guys haven't noticed, millennials and Generation Z, we are surrounded by technology. We were born out of the womb with a phone in our hands, at least with Gen Z, not so much millennials. But regardless, we are adapting to technology every single day. And for cryptocurrencies, it's no different. It's sort of our second nature to get involved into something like this, especially how so many people are starting to catch on to the amount of money you could potentially make off of this speculative asset class. So we currently have millennials starting to invest. We also have baby boomers that are starting to retire. A lot of these baby boomers are going to start pulling out of their investments, cashing out, and enjoying the rest of their lives. And when that happens, we are going to start to see a decline in the majority of other markets. I seriously think real estate is going to continue to do well because I think millennials are smart in that sector. But when it comes to stocks, bonds, and commodities, and even gold, I seriously think all of those sectors are going to decline over the next 10 to 20 years. To the simple factor that why invest in something where you can make 10% over a 10% over a couple years, or invest in something where you can make 10% in maybe a week. But also it's where the majority of people are flocking to, the majority of these institutions are flocking to, and where the new technology and growth is going to continue, as towards the stock market, where it's going to start to slow down and die off. And we will be talking about that a little later on. But there were a handful of studies done over the past year that goes to show that millennials are really starting to take notice to Bitcoin. So I have a couple of them for you guys. First off, Nate Garashi, president of ETF Store and independent investment advisor, said that he revealed in an interview that their millennial clients are clamoring to hold Bitcoin in their portfolios, and that's an average of 90% of millennials want to hold a portion of Bitcoin in their portfolios. That is absolutely massive. And it doesn't stop there. It never stops there. Blockchain Capital surveyed 2,000 US adults aged 18 to 34 years old, and it resulted in a handful of questions involving Bitcoin and a handful of other assets, but particularly in involving Bitcoin. The results is that 30% of millennials prefer Bitcoin to bonds, 19% prefer Bitcoin to gold, 22% prefer Bitcoin to real estate, and 27% prefer Bitcoin to the stock market. Now, I get these aren't the huge numbers like 90%, but that just goes to show that millennials are not stupid. They're starting to understand where the future is going, and they're going to get involved now. And that money that they have, they're most likely going to pull it out of the stuff that's making them 3% a year and putting in something a little more volatile that's seeing rapid growth, like Bitcoin. Current trends in the space, especially over like Google Trends, stuff like that, because that can always give us a great idea of where cryptocurrencies currently are, where they have been, and where they could possibly be in the future. So this is not new data, unfortunately, but it just goes to show that cryptocurrency adoption is beginning to grow. And what's really fascinating is that this study was done in December of 2018. I don't know if you guys recall, but we did bottom out in Bitcoin around $3,300 in December of 2018, and this statistic lines up directly with that. So the term Bitcoin dominated Google searches, surpassing the royal wedding and election results, as well as exceeding Kim Kardashian 3 times in December of 2018. According to the research conducted by YouGov, with YouTube searches for crypto also reaching an all-time high. So hopefully the YouTube channel continues to grow, as we do see cryptocurrency adoption growing as well. Another study, according to Coinbase, done by Coinbase, is that 58% of Americans indicate that they've heard of Bitcoin. Those surveyed reported a variety of reasons for interest. Some said that they were looking to diversify their assets, while others were primarily concerned with the potential of decentralized finance. So a lot of these Americans are not just looking to diversify their portfolio, but they also see a future in decentralized finance. They see a future in being your own bank, being in control of your money, not letting these banks or institutions control what happens. It is massive times to be in the crypto space. Also, keep in mind, I find this very fascinating, and it's not one of my bullet points, unfortunately, but it just came to thought. JP Morgan and Chase, we all know them. We know Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan. I don't know if you guys recall back in 2017 when Jamie Dimon said Bitcoin was dead. Unfortunately, well, I guess you could say unfortunately, JP Morgan is going to be launching their own cryptocurrency, very similar to Facebook's Libra coin, where they can utilize that to make cross-border transactions as well. And of course, it's going to be dubbed the JP Morgan coin. I just find that very fascinating how Jamie Dimon bashed cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin, and then they went ahead to utilize the technology and get involved. My personal prediction is that Jamie Dimon really does find two things. Either Jamie Dimon really does find Bitcoin fascinating, and he said those things that Bitcoin is dead, Bitcoin is crap, all that sort of stuff, to keep the price down to allow him to get more involved before the price went parabolic, or he really is scared of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies that they will take over the traditional financial system and throw Chase down the rabbit hole. Now, that is the main reason why I think they got involved in cryptocurrencies and launched their own coin. Coinbase found more than 70% of states in the United States enacted regulations impacting crypto and blockchain at some point this month. Wyoming, for example, passed 13 laws recognizing crypto as money and allowing banks to deal with it and deal with a handful of digital assets, not just Bitcoin alone. According to Coinbase, New York State has issued 18 bit licenses to broker trades and other deals as well. Coinbase also found that 15% of Americans said that they were at least somewhat likely to buy crypto in the near future. And keep in mind, if we break this down, we do a little bit of math, America currently has around 360 million U.S. citizens. If we break that down to around 15%, that's approximately 50 million people. Keep in mind, right now in the cryptocurrency space, we are probably around that right now, around 50 million, maybe a little bit more. I know Bitcoin a little bit back just passed its 50 millionth wallet, which is awesome. But people in the space probably a little bit lower than 50 million right now. So to have 50 million people in the United States alone get involved into cryptocurrencies is absolutely massive. I think Millennials and Gen Z are really going to help drive adoption through gaming. Gaming is absolutely massive right now. It's probably going to continue to grow into ESPN, into who knows, the Olympics one day, some crazy thing like that. But nonetheless, gaming plays a huge factor in cryptocurrencies right now, and in such a unique way. Now, I don't know if you guys know, but Vitalik Buterin, the CEO of Ethereum, or the creator of Ethereum as well, decided to create Ethereum because he used to be a huge gamer in World of Warcraft. The developers in World of Warcraft did something that he wasn't very fond of, so he branched off from World of Warcraft. He wanted to develop his own game, but then stumbled upon Ethereum and created Ethereum. So if it wasn't for World of Warcraft having a terrible update, who knows, Ethereum might not be here today, and that means probably a couple other thousand cryptocurrencies would not be here today as well. But why I'm mentioning this is because the creator of Ethereum was a huge gamer and probably is still a huge gamer. And I think that is going to continue throughout many years to come and get a lot of people involved in cryptocurrencies in one way or another. A couple perfect examples is you have Engine Coin, you have Wax, you have Komodo. They're all building these gaming platforms with multiverses where you can interchange virtual items between different games. And you can send virtual items to friends and family, interchange them for Engine Coins or Wax Coins, whatever it is, and get real value out of these items. This is an absolute game changer, and I'm sure that's a big factor why Engine did partner with Samsung, is because they see a large growth of this in the future. Also keep in mind that virtual reality is really starting to step up into the front, and I think that's going to also play a big role with digital assets as well and all of that sort of stuff. So gaming is going to be huge for cryptocurrencies, and the next generation to get involved is going to be Generation Z once they all start to become 18 and they're able to invest into cryptocurrencies. And also keep in mind, by the time that happens, cryptocurrencies is going to be so solidified into everyday life, and cryptocurrency tokens or coins are going to be integrated into so many games that it's going to be second nature for the majority of these gamers to use these cryptocurrencies, and it's going to be such a seamless experience. They're going to have no problem but adopting it down the road. Inflation is a huge thing happening in second or third world countries right now, and it's just going to continue. It's not going to stop. It's not going to slow down. We are going to continue to print money, and this is going to continue to cause problems, especially how we're not on the gold standard anymore in the United States. So inflation in countries like Venezuela, Argentina, and even issues in Hong Kong right now, in the Republic of China. In Hong Kong, they just had Bitcoin at a premium of $175 compared to all other markets around the world. Now, that was mainly due to some bills being passed with criminal activity in that country, and the majority of citizens are running to Bitcoin as a safe haven due to uncertainty. But I seriously think inflation is going to help Bitcoin adoption massively. Why hold on to a bunch of bills? For example, people in Venezuela, where they're already starting to adopt Bitcoin, and they're using it to buy groceries and stuff like that through their mobile device. Why wouldn't you do that compared to carrying around bags and bags and bags of paper that's essentially worth nothing? You can literally have your bank and your funds in your head. If you put your funds onto a wallet and you memorize the private key, whether that's a 12 or 24-word phrase, etc., memorize it. I'm sure it's not the easiest thing, but once you get it down, you'll feel real good about yourself, and no one can take that away from you. No one can get that out of you. Your finances are stored in the safest place possible. So I know this is a little ridiculous, especially how I'm based in the United States, and I'm sure a lot of you watching are as well, but I'm sure that's a lot of that's how a lot of people feel in these other countries like Venezuela, where they have to be so cautious with their finances, and they can't trust anyone. They can't trust banks. They can't trust the government. It's definitely a scary time, and I think Bitcoin is definitely going to be the place that these second and third world countries adopt the quickest. Guys, we haven't had a recession since 2008, a little over 11 years now. I don't know if you guys see the stock market, but it is continuing to climb, and it looks like it is running out of juice very, very soon. I think a recession is bound to happen within the next 2 years. How large, I don't know. Nobody knows. But I think we are definitely going to start to see a downtrend over the next 2 years. Now, will this be a bad thing for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies? Yes and no. In the short term, I see this being very bad for cryptocurrencies, not necessarily Bitcoin specifically, but cryptocurrencies as a whole. Keep in mind, the majority of these altcoins are backed to a company. They're the driving force for the price movement of these cryptocurrencies. So if we do begin to have a recession, the majority of people, I feel like, are going to pull out of their altcoins because they're definitely speculative assets, way more speculative than Bitcoin, and put it into Bitcoin, which is not backed by anything but math, code, and the people, and store their funds in Bitcoin over altcoins. So yes and no. In the short term, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a dip in Bitcoin to pull out into cash or whatever. But then I would seriously think we would see a massive driving force in the price movement of Bitcoin specifically, not necessarily altcoins. But also keep in mind, a recession would be a perfect time for a lot of these companies in the stock market to transition and tokenize whatever into cryptocurrencies and deviate away from the stock market as a whole, and that's when we would really start to see a lot more money flooding into the cryptocurrency space. Now, why I want to talk about gold is that, like I talked about with millennials, a lot of millennials are not going to want to invest in gold. Simple as that. Personally, for me, it just makes way more sense to invest into Bitcoin right now, especially how the prices are looking, all of this adoption that we're having. And keep in mind, gold is still a great investment. I think anyone should definitely maybe have a small, if you're a baby boomer or older in your 40s, etc., having a portion of gold, a safe standard, there's nothing wrong with that. But for the majority of millennials and Gen Z, why are we going to invest in gold? Gold is currently around $1,400. It spiked around $130 in the past month, which is great, around 9%, which is phenomenal. But if you look at the year to date, gold has only spiked 13% year to date. Look at Bitcoin and do the math. So I think a lot of people are going to be sort of chasing the money, following the technology, because that's where things are going to go. I think gold is obviously going to be here for a recession, and it's going to continue to climb, but more money is going to flow into Bitcoin because it is technically more scarce than gold. We have our halving coming up, and it's hands down the future. And of course, gold's high was $1,800 in November of 2011. So how much further can gold go before it corrects again? And is it really going to break all-time highs anytime soon? I really doubt it, especially if you take into factor how gold is, I believe, a $7 trillion asset class, and you have Bitcoin, which is around $200 billion. Do the math and see where the majority of money is going to go and where your risk to reward is, and that's all there is to it. Leave a comment down below if I missed any big news that's happening right now in the space, or that's going to be happening. I would love to hear your thoughts on where you think Bitcoin's going to be going in the next couple months, where you currently stand with the current price of Bitcoin. Now, thank you guys so much for watching. I do plan to do more videos like this. I want to start posting more news videos. We have a handful of interviews lined up that I think you guys will be really excited about, that I'm really excited about. And of course, I do want to do some unboxings and tutorials over the coming weeks as well. So if you did find this video informative, don't be afraid to smash that subscribe button. Maybe give this video a thumbs up. I don't know, that'd be cool. And I will catch you in the next.
I'm the definition of underdog who relates, who people rooting for cause they see themselves in my face. Go toe to toe with my bait, driven to be the great number one, tree second place like I'm in a two-man race. This is David and Goliath, view me as a fly, smaller than horizon, but there's so many rivals, my son's in the body that